All right, so this video is going to be a look at one of the formations the Ravens are using in their, quote, spread offense. Now, this is not going to all be 11 personnel. Plenty of teams are utilizing 21, 12 personnel in spread formations to spread the field horizontally and try to attack vertically at the same time, use the entire width and depth of the football field. I'm not exactly sure that the Ravens in this particular formation are attacking the depth of the football field, even though I think in this video there is one downfield route. There's a couple of other versions of trips that I could show. This is generally going to be focused on formations like this one. I'm going to come back to this data here in a moment, all right? So we're generally going to be talking about formations like this one, which was the intro pick, all right? And we're talking about the spread offense. We're not just talking about spreading the field horizontally from the center and then also vertically from whoever the outside receiver is, trying to expand the box that you can attack in, as opposed to, you know, some of the other, the heavier personnel groupings the Ravens utilize, centering or focusing on these parts of the field in terms of where players are lined up and where they're actually threatening. So we'll talk about 12 personnel. We'll talk about 11 personnel. Before we get into it, I'm going to show you some intro data. So the column all the way over to the right is player. That's the player who either got the ball on the run play or was targeted in the pass play. In some cases, in one case, I have the wrong player in there. I have Prochet in there for the screen that was minus 10 yards. It was actually a successful screen to Drake. I would say for like 4 yards, maybe 3. But it was called back for a penalty. Okay, so generally that's going to tell you who gets the football. So when we say spreading the football around, sharing the football to different guys, you see a pretty decent distribution of it, but you do see heavy tight end usage, obviously, with Likely and Andrews being in there. Now, this is only data from weeks 7, 8, and 9. This is not including data from prior to that, even though I think I will show 3 or 4 plays from week 3 against New England out of trips. As we go through it at first, it'll show just run plays because I have it sorted by play type, which is about the middle column, a little bit to the right of dead center, I guess. And then you can see the first 7 or 8 or 9 plays is run plays, and then after that is pass concepts. There's a couple of RPOs down there at the bottom, and there is some film from the Saints. Again, the film is only from weeks 7, 8, and 9. And we're going to focus on how the Ravens threaten the field out of trips, what we are maybe doing well, what we maybe could do a little bit more of, and maybe some things that we could show to make it a little bit more effective. I think one more thing about the data. If you look at the biggest plays in there, now there's not a play against the Patriots. There's no data in here prior to week 7, okay? Some of our biggest gains in this formation have been from Lamar. It shouldn't be surprising, right? I think this formation is one that's my favorite, and here's why. There's a lot we can do out of it. We can attack both sides of the field, and then we can use Lamar when we want to later in the game, or maybe not third, fourth quarter, but maybe we can show you trips 2 or 3 times in the first quarter, once or twice in the second quarter, and then run QB power with Lamar middle second quarter, or QB counter read with Lamar late second quarter to get us into field goal range or maybe score a touchdown. My point is this is a formation that appears balanced in terms of how many people we're getting the ball to, in terms of the run-pass balance, in terms of we can use it in hurry up, we can use it in our, quote, slow down offense, whatever you want to call it. And it has the home run hitter, Lamar, as an element to it that we can use late, that we don't have to rely on early. So let's get into some of the plays. This is New England, and this is stretch. It's not going to be a big game. Out of the pistol, we run stretch a lot to bunch. Bunch meaning 3 guys lined up tight to one side. This is not bunch, and this is why I like the trips formation. We can still run the stretch to it. It may end up being a cutback. That's fine. I don't think Moses is playing real great there on the backside. He's trying to block the backside guy with his back. You'll get a little bit of an angle of it here. We don't have to have Ricard on the field to run trips, and in fact, a lot of these plays that you see, he will not be on the field. Pistol, we can run stretch. You'd like to see Moses be a little bit more physical there and not just try to box the guy out, but actually finish him off by blocking. I think he's played much better lately. But again, these are all going to be run plays, and these are the big ones. And to keep this in mind a little bit later on when you see teams blitz the slot off the edge. There's a reason why. I kind of alluded to it in an earlier video today. His QB power read goes for 38 against the Patriots. They're lucky it didn't go for 6 points. And you will get the end zone angle here. All out of trips. Now, Ricard's going to motion over to the other side to create trips. You've got 2 receivers outside of Ricard in this direction. And then you've got 1 receiver to the backside over here. Generally, for us now, with our personnel without Bateman, that's going to be Demarcus Robinson. Maybe Deshaun Jackson some. I would say those are the 2 guys that should be used as the X, but sometimes it'll be Mark Andrews once he's healthy. QB power read. This is a devastating play, whether it's to the trips or away from the trips. I forget who it was a couple of weeks ago. Actually, more than a couple of weeks ago. Maybe a month ago. Was talking about the Ravens should run QB power read to the single receiver side. I agree. It'd be great to see that. I'm just not sure how we block the backside inside linebacker if we do that. But you can see how dangerous we are when we get Lamar the ball running. Okay, now let's talk about some more traditional plays because there's a lot of people who wouldn't consider that last one traditional. This is zone read. The back is to the side of Lamar. He's not in the pistol. We can run our option plays out of the pistol, but this is an actual zone read, which we do run some zone read out of pistol, but it's not the only thing. It's not the only option we run out of pistol. This has your classic running back on the side, crossing the quarterback's face. You can run the zone back into the boundary. You can see the Bucs are forced kind of to keep an overhang player here. I believe they think that we could run QB power read to this side. There's a problem there with the back's depth. We're not going to run. He's not going to cross Lamar's face from that depth. This is a inside zone depth alignment by the running back, and this is not something that only the Ravens do. You will see hundreds of teams, high school, college, and the NFL have alignment tells like that. But in any case, it allows us to read this guy. We have Likely and Prochet both going for the nickel defender. I still think that Likely should probably go for the linebacker, and if he does, and we can get the linebacker and the nickel blocked up, we've got the potential for a huge play down here. Prochet recognizes that Likely blocked the guy he was assigned to block, and so moved up to safety level. Like I said, these are all run plays. This is a pistol option play against Tampa Bay. Likely is looping around. Ricard is trying to veer release, in my opinion, outside of this D-end. I can't remember who this D-end is. And the D-end won't let him, so Ricard just slaps him out and expands that gap. It still doesn't end up being a huge gain. You're getting a double team here. And Likely trying to work up to the same guy that Macari and Ricard took. And he basically they basically end up getting in Justice Hill's way. So not everything is clean, but my point is we can attack with the run out of these formations, the trips formations. That last one, by the way, one more time. That last one, we're attacking away from the trip side. We're attacking to the single receiver side. In this case, it's where Ricard is lined up. It's a 21 personnel formation, but where do we not want to put Isaiah Likely? We don't want to put him at tight end. So the Ravens are trying to be slick here, put Ricard at tight end, and then run back to that side and use Likely as a lead blocker, which he's a little bit more effective in doing. We haven't seen him as an inline blocker hardly at all this year, probably less than 3 times total. Against the Saints, pistol, couple of things. This is going to be another stretch play. Not a big gain initially. Drake cuts it back for maybe 2 or 3. So it's a good cut by him. It looks like Boyle lost on the front side. Backside DN goes and gets it. It's a 3rd and 2. And we pick up the first down. But a couple of things to talk about. When we have 12 personnel, one of the weaknesses of it is you're generally going to get tight end in the slot and tight end being a twin. This safety can walk up like this. This is Tyrann Mathieu. Why? He's not worried about 3 vertical. He's not. It's a tight end. 3 doesn't threaten him vertical. Neither does this guy, really. I mean, he could, but this isn't Duvernay. This isn't Deshaun Jackson. It's not Demarcus Robinson, someone with clear-cut more speed. He, meaning the backside safety, can walk down here and basically play inside linebacker to the backside because of the lack of speed by our number 3 and number 2 receivers. He can play the cutback on stretch. You can see that's what Tyrann Mathieu is doing. Trying to play the cutback. What does that do? It allows the inside linebacker to try to fight over the top of blocks. And if we do cut it back here, allows him to be an extra fitter. Essentially, be an 8th guy in the box with the 5 guys and 2 here. You're not always going to get 7/8 guys in a box. At times, you're going to get a 2-high safety look like I've showed you a couple of times already. But if you've listened to my channel enough, here's an example of a 2-high look, but it's not like we're just going to be able to run the ball immediately just because you're in a 2-high look with an inside linebacker who's also walked off. I contend that we actually have a better conception of how to attack 1-high safety looks as opposed to 2. This will tell you a little bit about Kenyon Drake's speed. I know JOK does a lot of things that are unorthodox, but he's extremely fast, great burst. And he kind of has the angle on Drake here. Drake's still able to get like 3 yards. This is one of the only examples of us running to the backside of trips. And we need to do this more often. We need to run back over here more often, particularly if you're getting this safety in the middle of the field. So you have one safety to the trip side and a second safety in center field, really isolating this guy backside once the DN to the boundary steps down like he should. So steps down, forces a give read. This is a great situation for us. For Kenyon Drake, for Justice Hill, it's a great situation. We're not able to get enough yards because they've got a super fast guy to the boundary too. All right, probably the last run concept out of trips there. Now we get to the pass plays. My bad, I was wrong. QB power read one more time. So we're supposed to be reading this guy here. It looks like Moses steps to him for some reason. He steps down to Moses. Moses is trying to work up to linebacker level. So it's not cleanly blocked, if you ask me. Moses kind of gets in Power's way. Lamar still gets 6 or maybe 7. We're effective out of this. I wouldn't want to see us do this as our base play or base plays out of trips. All right, what are teams doing when they see us in trips? And this is not just the Browns. This isn't an isolated situation. The Bucs did this, and then so did the Saints. I think I've shown you one of those plays already. Depending on who they get as that number 3 receiver, in this case, the H-back or Ricard, they're reading him with a slot and then blitzing off of that. Look at this nickel. I should say nickel. They're blitzing off of the slot, in this case, Andrews. Why are they doing that? As soon as Ricard goes away, they know they're probably getting a gap scheme to the other side, or basically counter wind back. This is a great job by the Browns. They're running the DN down onto the running back. You can see he almost overruns the damn. He doesn't really almost overrun it, but they have a guy assigned to the running back on the give, and they have a guy assigned to the quarterback, which is Lamar, or assigned on Lamar. We do have plays to counter this, and I'll show you them later. I'm trying to illustrate to you how we can attack with the run and how teams are trying to take away the run from our trips formations, whether we're in A-gun, B-gun, or we're in pistol. Another QB power read. So I was way wrong on how many run plays there were. My bad. Like 3 plays ago, I thought it was the last one. Another QB power read. So we're reading this guy, and now he's stepping upfield. So Lamar's just going to follow the pulling guard, which is Ben Powers. Garrett tries to do this like box technique where he goes upfield, forces a keep read by Lamar, and then juts back downfield. We also are doing a really poor job with Andrews of blocking this nickel. If we get any kind of block on him, Powers is picking up the inside backer. Ricard is moving to the backside safety because there was no backside inside linebacker. He vacated by coming on a blitz. Really not sure what the Browns are doing by blitzing that guy there to the side of the running back. Kind of says some scary things about them if you're a Browns fan. The only play that we run that comes back here would be the back crossing his face and then us pulling these two and running QB counter read. We've already established in this video we don't run the ball back here to the one receiver side. Showed it to you once. That's the only time that I'm aware of it this season. So I have no idea why they'd be bringing that blitz against that formation. As it is, they play it quite well with the boxing DN 94. Andrews unwilling or incapable of getting the nickel defender, Lamar is still able to get a first down on 2nd and 3. Against the Bucs, this would be one of our base plays against it. If you ask me early in the game, we should go to this, particularly when Gus is healthy. Stretch for 22 yards. This is his last play that he played in that game. I love stretch because it lets our guys get out on people. It lets our guys attack and not have to sit back in pass pro or whatever. Lets them get out on people, attack. Also gets people moving horizontally. As soon as the Bucs D-line had to start moving horizontally, instead of just attacking upfield, they were a completely different thing for us to deal with. I believe at this point that is the last run play from trips. I think the rest of these are passes. You can see our trips alignment, but there's a couple of things different about it. There's nobody attached to the right tackle. So there are some giveaways, don't get me wrong, when we line up in trips, depending on who's in the slot, how close he is to the tackle. This is Lamar's touchdown to Mark Andrews, obviously against man. I think we've got good concepts to attack trips. Starting from the backside, you get snag. That route's not drawn up exactly where it ends up. Snag, flat with the running back, that the running back could turn into a wheel. I know you guys are running out of space there because of a title bar or because of a frame. So you got the snag. You also could run here. This is a route that Willie Snead caught for a touchdown multiple times out of trips. Mark Andrews as well. But now we've got Andrews isolated on that safety. Lamar's already let go of the football because he trusts Mark Andrews. Touchdown. Some people say it's severely underthrown. Well, it's a little underthrown, yes, but it's thrown in a manner where Andrews has a chance to go catch it. So I like the trips because we can at least isolate people in terms of if they bring heavy pressure, they're opening up wide swaths of the field for us to attack. And even though this is a red zone situation, if we do hit them, there's not really a whole lot of defenders. There's 6 here to defend the entire width of the football field. So this is a spread formation, even though you may say, well, we're not a spread team. Well, no, we're not a spread team like Arizona. They're a damn air raid team. That's like the spread on steroids, okay, if you don't know. We have spread formations in. We use a lot of compressed formations. This is the only compressed trips that I'm going to show you, I think, in this video. Compressed trips would normally mean bunch. Essentially, this is bunch out of 13 personnel. This is the one where likely, probably should have sat it down. These are effective pass concepts that Lamar reads well. They kind of use Andrews' gravity to pull him away from the point of attack, so I'm a big fan of it. It's a ball that Lamar thinks likely is going to sit down, between the hash and where his feet are now, and likely for whatever reason is running it, toward this corner that Lamar thinks he's trying to avoid. Lamar's got incredible awareness. Like, don't let people fool you. And I love, too, also the design is bringing likely here, and it's taking this tight end away. But you get a nice job by this corner. Why? Because the D-end's involved in the coverage here. So they had some kind of call to bring that D-end out into the flats. And that freed up this corner to get involved. Absent this corner, if this corner is guarding Oliver down here and this D-end is rushing, A, they might get more pressure, but B, this throw is going to be wide open to likely, and Lamar probably sticks it in there out in front of him. Lets him go get the football. You can refer back to this data too. I'll bring it back up. We are on snag flat to Robinson, about halfway down, I believe. That's what we're on. Because I showed you a couple from the Patriots games that are not in this database. So we have omitted those from the data that I'm showing you here. When I ran the query for the data for trips, I only ran it from weeks 7, 8, 9. I didn't utilize any weeks prior to that. So this is snag flat backside. I kind of alluded to this a little bit. Lamar's seeing cover 2 on the backside. He's just reading the corner and the linebacker. The linebacker is not going with the running back. So I'm talking about this linebacker going with the flat route. If the linebacker goes with him, then Lamar knows he's probably got man. The linebacker sits, he knows he's probably got some zone. Someone's got to take the running back. In this case, it would be the corner, and the snag is open to Demarcus Robinson, Lamar kind of throws it on the, not on the back shoulder, but he kind of throws it in a manner to keep him. He's not trying to lead him to the linebacker. This is another example, if you ask me, of Lamar throwing the ball generally on the side that protects his receivers, keeps them from taking big hits. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. If I didn't, it's just my own weakness in explaining it. It's not an indication that Lamar doesn't do what I'm trying to describe to you that he does do. Trips with the tight end, close to the left tackle, probably within 3 to 4 yards. True 11 personnel. And he's going to be wide open. It's not snag flat. We're running a wheel. And then we're running a slant with Robinson. I think Robinson's got better acceleration and legs than we were led to believe. So far, from what I'm seeing, it looks like he's got a far better burst in acceleration than people have informed us or than we thought. So instead of snag and flat there, a 3-step concept, you're getting like a slant and a little shimmy and then a wheel here and then running likely onto the space. This is a classic Ravens concept with, essentially this being a clear out route to the backside. I would like to see us attack at some point downfield with it, but in that case, we've got a safety sitting in the middle of the field waiting for something like that. Against the Browns, trips left B, and I don't think we ever came back to this. This is one that a lot of people in the comments section correctly picked up on. Duvernay was open, but we don't have the time to get him the football there. Number one. Number two, we're just operating one-on-one here. There's no route concept, there's no read. It's not snag flat. It's not slant, 2 to hash, up to hash, and a wheel. It's not any of those things. It's just Lamar looking backside because what he initially read or looked at looked like Andrews wasn't going to be open. Watch Lamar's helmet. Doesn't mean he did anything wrong. He just checked over here, came off of it, went back to Bateman. Unfortunately, we're wide open up here. But we know also that 22 is following or tracking Lamar's eyes somewhat, but what he's really focused on is Mark Andrews. This was disappointing because we never came back to this. I love the design of it. For real. You got Ricard out in the flats. That's holding this corner. You got Andrews sitting here, holding this safety, and Duve running here. It's a cover 2 beater. It's a great call it's a great call. We ran a cover 2 scheme, a route concept to beat cover 2, and we got cover 2. Except, again, they are rolling this safety to middle field and basically leaving this man-to-man. And I think that's why after this game, the Ravens started to go snag flat to the backside some and attack it because they recognized teams were just rolling the backside safety over the top, even when we had Bateman there. Trips left closed. So here's the tight end. This is the route combination between these three that, a lot of people didn't like. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do recognize this is not a great, ball by Lamar. I love sprint out. If you think this is an unusual concept, like you're just wrong. People run sprint out all the time from spread formations. We've really isolated these three guys defending our trips. You got man, man, and man. We've really isolated them. The sprint out concept, conceptually, you're trying to work to this side. Everybody's trying to work to this side. And then also the fullback or running back is getting out in front to help. It's a pain in the butt dealing with this when you've got an athlete like Lamar, and that's why this guy is coming. He's blitzing to make sure that, or not really blitzing, it's a read to make sure that Lamar doesn't get to the sideline. So they have ample force players outside there to keep him from just running to the sideline and getting the first down on a 3rd and 3. Slightly overthrown, if you ask me. Not horrible coverage by the guy on Andrews, but not a great throw by Lamar. Trips against the Bucs. And I think one of the things that we have all talked about is we're really heavy on this read. And to me, Prochet is open on this China in, whip, whatever people want to call it. That to me looks like a situation where Lamar should be off the Andrews read like now. He's trying to figure out if Andrews is going to sit this thing down here, which it looks like he could, or curl it in the middle of the field if this linebacker expands to the sideline too much. And in my opinion, he's got to be off this read by now. It's got to be to Prochet. Yeah, you've got You've got defenders who can close. Yes, you do. But it's 3rd and 7, and get rid of the football. Don't put us in a situation where we've got to scramble and we've got to create space with our legs, which he's capable of doing. Wouldn't be as many pressures, wouldn't be that pressure added to the stat line if we just got rid of the ball to Prochet. Trips right B out of 11 personnel. And it's a screen. The breakdown is here because Linderbaum is out in front. It's not like all these concepts are easy, but they are things that we can execute, that we have executed. I think the breakdown is Powers. Hangs around in here too long, and then doesn't get to this inside backer. If he does, we're in business. Linderbaum is on his guy. We've lost this guy, unfortunately. If Powers' feet is out here, he's got leverage to get to this inside backer. You can see that it would give Drake, the option to cut it back or the option to start to cut it back and then burst upfield. As it is, Powers doesn't get there because he just hung around too long with, I think, the nose tackle. It only ends up being like a 2-yard gain, and we got it called back for a penalty anyway. Actually, the penalty was on that. My bad. All right, a couple of RPOs. One of them very disappointing. Referring back to the Browns game, the Browns play from earlier when I showed you that they were bringing the DN down the line of scrimmage and then bringing the nickel off. Remember, it was when Ricard went in motion. Right before the snap, Ricard went in motion. This time, it's a called blitz because they think we're running, QB counter read or zone read, like we had just run the week before, where all the line is stepping this way, running back is stepping that way, and Lamar kept it. Now it's a mirrored or reverse image of what I'm showing you. The trips was down here to the bottom side. It was the first play I showed you, I believe, maybe second. There's an entire offense here. I'm showing you the trip stuff. Some of it is from different alignments, but you can see there's a wide variety of plays here. If you stuck around this long, again, I'm not sure how to get my damn videos to be shorter than 25 minutes at this point. I guess show fewer plays. I'm trying to give you an in-depth look. I believe that this is probably an incomplete breakdown. It doesn't cover all the elements. You can see Lamar is reading this D-end. If that D-end was to run upfield, it could probably be a give read to the back. Keeps it, throws the RPO out here. There's the blitzing nickel defender. Likely, unfortunately, drops it. Great play design. We got the ball out to a playmaker, a big playmaker, a guy who can run after the catch. And unfortunately, we dropped the football. Backside, speed out, another drop on a 3rd and 9. So you see some of the issues we've had just in the last 3 plays. We had a screen to Drake where an offensive lineman, Ben Powers, didn't get out there in front, didn't execute. You can see that Likely didn't catch the ball, and now here Bateman didn't catch the ball. I think we're better, honestly, in these alignments. I really think this trips alignment is something that we are far more effective in than some of the numbers show. I can pull the data for all 9 games and throw it into the next video that I do this weekend. I'm going to try to go through, I'm going to try to put out a series of videos showing that the Ravens offense is multiple. So this one is a spread formation, trips, okay? Not bunch, trips. Sometimes it's pistol, sometimes it's A gun, sometimes it's B gun. I'll do a 2x2, a twin slot or flex video soon, and then I'll go to some 22 personnel stuff. So tighter compressed formations with the fullback in the backfield, or Ricard motioning, essentially motioning into the backfield. This one is designed to show that we do have a lot of concepts that we can run. I don't know that we're throwing the ball downfield enough out of this formation, though. It doesn't seem like we are to me. I don't know what you may have a different opinion. It seems like we are spreading people horizontally by alignment, the trips, and we're spreading people horizontally with the play design. Great, that's good. It doesn't seem like we're spreading people vertically as much. Maybe that has to do with, Bateman not being there or not being healthy even in some of the games where I showed you film of him. But let me know what you think of my thoughts. This is not designed to be a comprehensive, the entire Ravens offense. This is just really meant to look at this particular formation. That's why all the data you see there says trips left or trips right, or anything that says trips and then closed means a tight end on the backside lined up as an inline tight end. So kind of preserving more of a run threat on the backside, even though to me, we're not running the ball on the backside of trips except for one time in this video. Maybe it was twice, but I think it was only once. Anyway, let me know what you think of the video, what you think of my idea of trying to, over the next 4, 5, 6 days, maybe even more than that, show different elements or aspects of the Ravens offense. Let you be in on a thought that I have, that I think we are more multiple than the Ravens offense is being given credit for, even though the last 6 or 8 plays that I showed you there, I don't think would be considered successful in terms of the yards gained. Let me know what you think of the video in the comments section and which formation or types of concepts you'd like for me to cover next.